Top of the morning to you. Welcome to another edition of Idea Morning Digest. It's Boxing Day, Cynthia. Yesterday was Christmas, and I know that we are still in the spirit of celebration. You can see Cynthia looking all colorful, all fly, all flowery, all gorgeous.
I just unboxed myself.
She just unboxed herself. Merry Christmas in Arias? Yes, in Arias, because it was just yesterday. But I mean, you can still say Merry Christmas. Because we still have people who have to warm their rice.
Exactly. I did this morning,
microwave their food to eat. So as long as you still have that Christmas food, Merry Christmas to you. And the season is here and we're all just joyous and celebratory. How did you celebrate Christmas yesterday, Cynthia?
I was here with my people.
Oh,
For my people.
yes, you were here.
Yes.
And that's why I told Mary yesterday that this Christmas period is really about spending time with our viewers who keep us here, because we are only here because you are watching us. So it's more family time, more bonding time, more time to share with our people. And there was a lot of food going around. I just saw that love. I saw that uniqueness. I saw that sharing. People came together. And it's very interesting because we complain that things are hard, but somehow in the midst of all of that hardship, we find a way to show love to each other, which is so commendable. So, welcome to Idea Morning Digest. Today we'll be looking at a lot of things, but before that, let's quickly look at the headlines this morning. Hi, Melanin Popping Cynthia. First is Nigeria, United States launch joint airstrikes against terror groups in Northwest.
Okay, and the next story, federal government shuffles NCAA directors amid corruption and safety concerns.
We'll see NCC moves towards satellite telephone connectivity in new 2025 roadmap, 2025 to 2030 roadmap.
Okay, and lastly, Liberia moves to create state-owned bank for agricultural financing.
Okay, let's go on this break. When we return, it'll be time to dive into the story. Stay with us.
Number 1. Synthetic biology advances. Synthetic biology is pushing science into new territory. Using AI-guided gene editing, researchers are engineering organisms to produce biofuels, biodegradable plastics, and even synthetic meat. In 2023, Ginkgo Bioworks announced partnerships to design microbes that can manufacture sustainable chemicals at scale. Moderna and BioNTech are expanding mRNA technology beyond COVID vaccines to treat cancer and rare genetic diseases. The global synthetic biology market is expected to surpass $30 billion by 2030. By 2026, the line between biology and technology will blur even further, making synthetic biology one of the most transformative fields of the decade. So there you have it, 15 more technologies that, alongside the first 17 we covered, are set to define 2026. Together, they show how quickly innovation is moving beyond our screens and into every corner of our life, from the materials we use to the way we connect and even how we think. And if you missed part 1, make sure to check it out next. If you made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Number 2. Advanced neurotechnology beyond BCIs. Brain-computer interfaces grabbed headlines when Neuralink implanted its first chip in 2024. But neurotechnology is much broader. Researchers are testing non-invasive brain stimulation to treat depression and PTSD, while companies like Kernel are developing helmets that can monitor brain activity with unprecedented detail. Clinical trials are exploring personalized brain therapies for epilepsy and Alzheimer's. In 2023, the U.S. NIH launched its Brain Initiative 2.0, investing billions in advanced neurotech. By 2026, these innovations could expand from medical use into wellness and cognitive enhancement. Number 3.
Welcome back. Welcome back from that short break. It's now time for us to dive into the stories. Cynthia, you want to take that?
Yeah. Okay, the first story we have here, Nigeria military says joint strikes carried out today with the United States targeted ISIS-linked terrorist elements operations operating in parts of Northwest, describing the operations as a strong signal of the government's resolve to counter terrorism. The Defense Headquarters says the strikes followed credible intelligence were approved by relevant authorities and were carefully planned to weaken terrorist capacity while limiting civilian harm. The military says the operation reflects ongoing cooperation with international partners to prevent foreign fighters from gaining a foothold in Nigeria. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirms sustained security and intelligence collaboration with the United States, stressing respect for Nigeria's sovereignty and international law. The development comes amid continued security concerns, including a deadly attack on a mosque in Maiduguri yesterday, underscoring the urgency of counter-terrorism efforts nationwide. I mean, this is not so good to start the Boxing Day with. I mean, we woke up and this is what Nigeria unboxed for us. But on another hand, it is good that we are very active fighting terrorism, and especially with the support from the U.S. So there has been many debates surrounding this, because the U.S. President has come out to write on his Truth Socials saying the U.S. has carried or launched a strike yesterday at the ISIS operation center or parts in the west. Then the defense minister or the defense headquarters too were telling us that the strikes were based on credible intelligence approved by the relevant authorities, and was carefully planned to reduce civilian casualties. And I like that language, and that's what stands out to me. Carefully planned to reduce civilian casualties. And it tells us a lot of things. Like I said before, it tells us two things here. And the first thing is that I feel like it's a spontaneous action, because we've not seen something like this, and that's why I like partnership. That's why I believe that joining forces with the US is very important at this point in time, because for a very long time we have not seen this very swift response. We have not seen this very spontaneous action, and I count this one as such. And then secondly, I'll say Nigerian public wants to understand another thing again, and it's because we see that this was it was coordinated and legally backed. But then when we talk about ISIS link, many people are talking about the Northwest. Many people are talking about so many debates online. Why will the US launch a strike before Nigerians are aware of it, even if the defense headquarters are saying they were aware of it? So, but people are still saying, so many concerns are still being raised. People are still saying that no, they do not know. So we don't know who knows and who doesn't know. Yeah, it's more like it's a question of what is being said and what is not being said. But I do not want to dwell on this too much. But Chinatu, do you have anything to say? Because
I have a lot to
talk
say
about it.
I have a lot to say
discussion
because
segment.
I know that we'll talk about in the discussion segment. I'll just say these few things. Anything that takes away terrorism from our nation, I am fully in support of it. However it comes, as long as it ensures that terrorism is out of here. Just yesterday, a church member had brought his uncle's wife and his late uncle's wife and children kidnapped on their way from Abuja to Enugu. We've been battling that case in church for over 3 weeks now. Cynthia, these people were released yesterday night. And he is saying that he believes it's a Trump's effect. That they were demanding 40 million. And all of a sudden, they called them that they've released them from the bush. That they should find them and, just pick them. And they didn't just release them, they had released other people that they had kidnapped. These people traveled earlier in the month for prepping for Christmas celebration. And so you see the kind of hurt that people are inflicting on people. And now, see how people are just saying in my church group, and people are sometimes saying, this is the Trump's effect. So they're also hearing what is happening. They're now aware. They've, launched action, and so they're doing what, celebrating. But what does that say about Nigeria? When we say that we're a sovereign nation, it is in cases like this that we can confirm that we are. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is coming to tell us now that they are aware of this. But I beg to question, how are we aware of something? And it is Donald Trump that made a post first on his Truth social media handle. I was up the whole night following this. He posted. So if we were aware, because it looks like this took us unaware, Why did we now post after him?
They said they are trying to respect their sovereignty somehow.
How are we at respecting the sovereignty when you should have informed your people?
Because of the holiday.
Okay, but are we not panicking now? Because Trump still posted. So if you really wanted to protect us, you tell Donald Trump, oh, please don't post. Let us work, let the work happen under the radar. But he posted. So how do you now protect your people? We have a lot of comments and many things to see in the discussion segment, so I'll just save the rest for later. But moving on, the federal government has reshuffled key directors of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority following allegations of corruption and concerns over safety oversight within the agency. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, approved the changes as part of ongoing administrative and investigative actions. Godwin Balang has been redeployed as Director of Airworthiness Standards, while Ahmad Abba moves to head Aerodromes and Airspace Standards. The Airworthiness Directorate plays a key role in aircraft certification, maintenance, oversight, and compliance with international safety rules. The reshuffle took effect on Tuesday, and the move follows recent aircraft incidents investigated by the Nigeria Safety Investigation Board, including a Hawker 800 XP crash landing in Kano on December 14 and a Cessna 172 crash in Owerri on December 16, both without fatalities. The Minister's office says investigations into alleged lapses and corruption are ongoing, stressing that the changes are aimed at strengthening safety and regulatory effectiveness. When I first read about the crashes that happened in Kano and Owerri, my heart sunk. Because then I told myself, if there were casualties, the news would have been everywhere as well. So that's such a relief. However, I know that Festus Keyamo, apart from the K1, Kwam 1 and Kwam 2 and almost Kwam 3 story that now happened in Enugu later on, he's been working actively to set things in order around the aviation sector. And I'm very happy that he's speaking about corruption and, fixing all of that. Because that is one sector in this country that I keep wondering, will there ever be a time where we'll have etiquettes go back to 40,000, 35,000 for the common man? Because some of the talks about corruption, it stems from embezzlement, it stems from not doing the right thing, it stems from irregularities with safety measures. And so it's good that he's pointed that out and he's seen that and is now working to fix the problem. But I just want us to also look at the pricing. And I'm just putting this out there that more than just fixing the structure, can we also look at the pricing and the taxation? I know that the other day ECOWAS came up to say, there's going to be reduction in tax. In fact, from 1st of January, there was not going to be tax in the region for people who are traveling. So all of those unnecessary taxes are going to be wiped away. I want to see that happen in Nigeria too, not just at the regional level. Let us bring it back home. There are certain taxes that people shouldn't pay. There are certain amount of money. I was so surprised yesterday, Cynthia, somebody had to book a flight from Abuja to Uyo and it was 640,000. 640,000. You're not going to London. You're not going to America. And you're paying 640,000. So I know we want to talk about the surge, but is it that there are no flights to carry the people, no matter how many? Do you understand? Because every time people say, it's because it's Christmas, I try to understand the logic. Are there no more vehicles to move? Why is the surge too much? Granted, there are more people coming. You can spread it across.
There are not enough airfields who can
have more, rather than taxing people to kill. Because when I see those prices, I'm not happy. And then you go to the road, the same excuse. The only thing that seems to be fair in this country is the railway. And then how many trains, how many rail tracks do we have to try? Because if we had railway running very well and we had trains running across different states in this country, trust me, the airports will be empty. I am not, somebody like me, I enjoy the train. I'm not going to use the plane. Because first of all, you're still getting the ambient, you're still getting the feeling, and you don't even feel like you're moving. So it's a good move from the NCC. However, let us look at the finance sector around that too, because customers need to be prioritized in some of those decisions. So the people who are coming aboard with safety measures, this even reminds me of some incident that happened. Somebody spoke about how he got into this flight and then he didn't understand what the plane looked like. the AC around his corner wasn't working, the seatbelt wasn't working, and when he complained, they didn't respond to him. So those are some of the irregularities around safety that we do not want to keep seeing. And so while these people take up these new measures, I hope that they look into those nitty-gritties of the sector too.
Very important, this step they are taking, because when we talk about aviation safety or safety in our aviation system, we always think it's just about fixing, just like you mentioned, prices are there, what do they call it, maintenance is there,
Yeah.
so many other regulatory affairs is there or are there. But then, who are the people at the helm of these operations? Who are the people, calling the shots? Whenever a price rises, whenever an aircraft is not working properly, who are you going to hold? So I think this is very important. Even if it's going to be temporary, I think it's very important to reshuffle officials. It shows that leadership is being questioned, and when anything goes wrong, these are the people we have to hold accountable. So I like what this is signaling, all-round accountability. This is what this reshuffling is signaling to me. And I also think it's the attempt to restore, I think it's an attempt to restore public confidence too, because it shows that people are complaining, and the aviation sector is listening, especially after all of those repeated aviation scares, just like the Kano plane crash and the other one. So I feel like this is very important, and it is coming at the right time, and it also places pressure on those regulators. They'll begin to hold themselves accountable as well. We're not just talking about airlines alone, like I've mentioned before. We are talking about to uphold that safety culture, and also to bring back accountability and that sense of ownership, that I am responsible for something. I am responsible for people's lives. I am responsible for people's safety. I think this is all this is what it is bringing back. But like you mentioned something, I always have a but, because it's not just about reshuffling these officials. It's about seeing that the aviation institution or the aviation sector is completely reformed. That is what we want to see. So when anybody, this is just me saying, when you are called into power, when you are given a responsibility, you have to ensure that there is transparency. You have to ensure that you also carry out long-term, should I say, insulation when it comes to regulation. It's very, very important, especially in the aviation sector, where there are so many uncertainties. But if things are put in place, people will not have to worry, and we will not have to complain about some oversight. We just want to see a proactive aviation system, not the one that will come and do something after something has happened, because this is coming just after the Owerri crash and the Kano crash, which happened, both of them happened in December. So I mean, we don't want to see cases like this where we'll just say, okay, we'll come out and say, thankfully, okay, we are even thankful, first of all, that there are no fatalities. But then after that, we now say, okay, this is where we need to start putting things in place. This is where we need to start carrying out the right measures to ensure that things do not go wrong again. No, let's start, there needs to be evaluations rather needs to be carried out from time to time. And well, at the end of the day, it is good that they are trying to, not just see how they can change planes this time, maintain this. They are seeing how they can go back to the roots, go back to people that are, handling this position, and see how they can overhaul the system completely. But then let's move to the next story we have here. Nigeria Telecoms Regulator, the Nigerian Communications Commission, I beg your pardon, has today signaled a major shift towards satellite-powered mobile services, unveiling plans to support direct-to-service connectivity in its draft spectrum roadmap for 2025 to 2030. The move would allow mobile phones to connect directly to satellites, helping extend voice and data services beyond the reach of traditional cell towers. The Commission says the approach will help close coverage gaps in rural, riverine, and border communities, while also strengthening network resilience during outages or emergencies. It comes weeks after Earth Africa announced a partnership with SpaceX to roll out Starlink-powered direct-to-cell services in Nigeria and other markets under the roadmap. The NCC plans to expand the use of low Earth orbit and geostationary satellites alongside high-altitude platforms to support broadband access, public safety,